I am ready. Yes, we are live. Hello and welcome to the first full week of March. I am here today to talk to you about a recent situation that just happened in my life. I had to attend a mandatory training, and it was a huge reminder of something that I have let be something that I've forgotten in the past. And I see lots of other solopreneurs or entrepreneurs forgetting it as well. So I wanted to talk to you about a mandatory training that I had to attend this past weekend. If you don't know me yet, I'll get into my actual introduction in a second. But if we're not actually close personally, you might not know that I am in the military. I am in the Air Force in the National Guard, so the Air National Guard, and I've been serving my country for more than 25 years. There was a break in service, but I have more than 25 years of service and I'm still actively serving. So I had drill this past weekend and we had to do a mandatory training, and it reminded me of a big lesson that can help you understand how to grow your business. So like I said, my introduction is that I'm Lori Reeves, founder and CEO of Brand Strength, and I help solopreneurs make more money in 90 days. So what I'm going to talk about today is this mandatory training that I had to do over the weekend. It was about first aid. And the reason that it was mandatory is that the Air Force had looked at the program that was used for many, many years to teach first aid and realized that they were maybe focusing on some of the wrong things, and they wanted to refocus all the personnel of the Air Force onto one main thing so that we could save more lives out in combat situations where somebody is injured. So what they realized is that they did not put enough emphasis or maybe even cautioned against using tools or practices that could save a life, and instead made people think that you could actually be harming somebody. So what I'm talking about is massive bleeding. And this whole new training, the Air Force focused on making sure, first of all, that you have stopped a massive bleed, because a person can literally bleed out in about 3 minutes. It's a very short time. So when you get to a position where there is a mass casualty or a big situation where a lot of people are injured, what you need to do first and foremost is make sure that you are stopping the bleeding in as many people as possible. The window for doing that is really short. And then once you've stopped the bleed, then you can start looking at what else has been affected by this bleed so that you can manage somebody's care until a medical professional can arrive. So what lesson that this taught me about business is that we sometimes forget that a lot of our success, what will determine our success, comes down to the basics. We as solopreneurs have so many things on our plates, whether they're put there by ourselves saying like, I need to do this thing, or focusing outwardly and seeing other people doing things that we are not doing. And like I said at the beginning, I've found myself doing this in the past, not focusing on the basics and getting kind of in the weeds about other things that I could be adding when I didn't have the foundation or the basics all shored up. So what was really happening is I was bleeding out. My business was bleeding out. Money, clients, time, lots of things. And I know how many things you see other people doing, and it feels like your attention is best spent on adding more and more and more. So you see somebody on TikTok and you're like, oh my God, I don't know TikTok, but I need to learn it. You see somebody with a YouTube channel and you're like, well, I've been making short videos. Now I need to make longer videos. You see people with Facebook groups and Instagram groups and LinkedIn groups. You see people on all different kinds of platforms. You see people offering all different kinds of things, one-on-one, group, a small offer, a VIP day, right? We see all of these things happening and we assume that we need to have so many things put in place in our business, but we typically tend to do that before we have the basics completely covered. Do you have an offering that you have complete conviction in, that you know 100% can save people's lives or solve their big problems, where once it's solved, they actually feel like they have a different life because they are so different the transformation has made them so different than they were before? Do you have a solid plan for bringing an audience into your realm, to helping them see who you are and what you do in a consistent way? Are you doing the things in your business or have you done the things in your business that allow you to do more with the time that you have and automate things or get them done faster? If you're not doing all of that foundational work, if you're forgetting to focus on it, you are bleeding cash, clients, and time. And it's really important. I know it can feel like we don't need to go back to the basics. It can feel like that's not a good way to spend our time because we kind of feel like we've moved past it. We know that we need to move on. We need to do more and more and more. But what I see more often than not is that when we kind of brush the foundation or the basics to the side, we don't ever want to revisit them. But a lot of times that foundation wasn't built very strong to begin with. You don't have brand strength. You have a brand, but it's not a strong one. You don't have consistent referrals coming in. You don't have people who rave about your business. You don't necessarily get the results that you want to be getting for your clients. You don't know exactly what to say to let people know what you're doing and who exactly you help. If you find yourself struggling with the basics, with the foundation, anything that you add on top of it is not going to help, right? It's kind of like using the Air Force analogy. It's kind of like doing CPR on somebody who doesn't have an airway, right? Like they need to be breathing before CPR is helpful, right? So it's like you need to focus on, or if they're bleeding, right? It's like making sure that the finger that they cut is bandaged up before you're making sure that the gunshot wound where all their blood is coming out is actually stopped, it's stopped bleeding. So I want you to just look at your business and ask yourself if you have taken care of the main things, who you're serving exactly, what you're offering, that your offer is amazing, that you truly believe that the people who aren't taking you up on it are missing out, that your offer is exactly what people need, that you are serving people in your highest capacity with your best resources and your best ability to manage the clients that you have already and the people who are coming in. If you don't have all that in place, you are bleeding out. And I don't want that to happen for you. I want you to make sure that you have a strong foundation, a strong brand, so that you can know for sure that the big things are taken care of. And that's when you start looking elsewhere to see what else is being affected by this. Okay. There are going to be consequences of bleeding out, but it's not time to solve those until you stop the bleed. Okay, so I hope this was helpful for you. I love bringing in little bits of my life so that you can get to know me better, but also see the lessons that I see in my head. I relate so many situations in my mind of things that I encounter to what I could learn about or to remember in order to increase my business or to make a better business for myself. So I hope this was helpful for you. Hope you're set up to have a fantastic week, and I'll talk to you again soon.